Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be introducing the teams facing off in the For Honor PAX West Gauntlet. First up, we've got Team Knight. Please welcome to the stage Carnage, Gassy Mexican, Lol Renene, and Tangent Gaming. That is Team Knight. Facing off against Team Knight will be Team Samurai, featuring Cobalt Streak and Munition, Man vs. Game, and Fairlight Excalibur. All right, folks. Now that you see the teams arrayed, I want to get a sense for where the crowd's loyalty lies, both here and online. So let's hear a big shout for those who will be supporting Team Knight. And now let's hear from the folks online and here in the PAX West Arena who will be cheering for Team Samurai. All right, looks like these teams have quite a rowdy crowd behind them. Got your work cut out for you, Team Knight, coming in as maybe the crowd underdogs, but why don't y'all take a seat, and I'm going to talk with the team captains here before we get kicked off. All right, first off, I'm going to talk with Tangent Gaming here, captain of the Knights. Tangent, talk to us a little bit about your For Honor experience and how you're planning to lead your team to victory.
Well, got about 30 hours in the alpha so far. Basically, we're going to not tell you guys how we're going to win the game.
I like it. Playing it cagey, keeping it under wraps. Fairlight Excalibur, you yourself, I think, are one of the most experienced For Honor players here. How do you think that experience is going to help your team out?
I trained 1,000 years in a mountain dojo for this moment. I was born to play this game, and you don't pick a sword fight with a guy whose last name is Excalibur.
He talks a good game, folks. We're going to see how that plays out in the battlefild itself. Why don't you guys go ahead, have a seat, get set up with your teams, and we'll get ready to go here in just a minute. All right, as the teams get set up, Jeff and I are going to set up our caster station here, and the action will begin shortly. Jeff, we've got Knights. We've got Samurai. I think one of the most important things to clarify, first off, is the Samurai aren't all choosing Samurai. The Knights aren't all choosing Knights. In For Honor multiplayer matches, you're free to choose heroes from any faction.
That is correct. We wanted you to allow you guys to choose who you wanted to embody on the battlefield. Heroes just aren't tied to factions or play styles. Each hero is unique in his own right, and we didn't want to limit anyone from really showing who they were in the heat of the battle.
All right, so we'll see who chooses which heroes here in the first of our best of 5 match. We'll get started shortly. Now, Jeff, when you sit down, when a team is sort of coming together to play, what do you think is right out of the gate, the most important beat for them to hit strategy-wise? What do they need to be all on the same page about?
It's exactly that. They need to be on the same page. Communication is key, man. Whether you have a strategy going into the battle, that can all be thrown to the wind within a matter of seconds. It's all about tactics, and the key to tactics are communication. Live updates with your teammates. Even when you're dead, we provide a spectator cam that allows you to pan the battlefield and provide feedback to your team as to where the threats are. It's all about prioritizing threats and leveraging your opportunities during the battle.
All right, here we've got the attackers and defenders all lined up here, ready to go. Saw a Viking Raider in the mix there, and we are going to see them playing on Overwatch.
Yep, so Overwatch is one of our Samurai maps. It's based in the Mire. That is a home region of the Samurai. One of the first things you'll notice is the overall feel and architecture of the map is unique to the Samurais.
All right, now we're going to be getting a good look at this map here in just a second. Those capture points, A, B, and C, as we saw in the Dominion overview, B is the one where the melee is happening, where all the enemy foot soldiers are in the mix. Do you go there first? Do you try to get on the wings? What do you like to do?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, B, or the front, is more about not just capturing the zone, but pushing through to the threshold. So it could very well be their first priority, but this map has a unique setup where point A provides a high ground and an overview of the map.
All right, we are on board with the blue team here. The blue team is, do we know?
The blue team are the defenders, so they're the ones who are trying to hold their sanctuary and oppress the attacking team.
So for our purposes here, that's Team Knight in the blue, and they've come out early capturing C. But here we see the front. The battle's happening there.
Yep, so you mentioned the front. Key to the front is a type of hero that you choose to go into battle with. Oh, there you see it. So certain heroes have a preference due to their range and their weapon to be in the front. You know, it's like fighting a lot of little soldiers. One-on-one, they won't do much, but a group of 10 one-year-olds can really do some damage after a while.
All right, it looks like this Raider knows a thing or two.
So here we have a 2-on-1, but those of you may have noticed that there's environmental hazards that you can use to your advantage to try to help yourself in an outnumbered situation.
Just ran by one of my favorites there, the spike wall.
So there's an example of the Raider stun. What that does is it takes almost all of the HUD or the UI off of your opponent's screen, making it harder for them to read which direction you're going to be attacking from. Here you can see another example of the environment being a threat. In this specific zone, the trapdoors open throughout the battle, making it more and more dangerous to be in this zone. But at the same time, we want you to be there for points.
We had quite a fight there, and now the Raiders just popped the revenge.
So there we see the importance of the execution. That enemy can no longer be revived and has to wait out the respawn time, putting his team at a disadvantage.
Team Knight with a staunch defense of point C, but Team Samurai with the point lead currently.
Yeah, so right now, all three capture zones are in play. As you can see, there's only about 100 points difference. One of the keys to being a hero is that all-out offense often isn't the best way to proceed. Sometimes defense can be your best key to a productive offense.
Ooh, there's that spike wall.
Yeah, so somebody was taken into the spikes by a heavy attack. You really have to be aware of your surroundings.
That was a nice kill by defender number 4.
So here we can see one of the defenders, the Raider, going to capture point A. Point A only has 2 paths to which it can be approached. Both of the bridges, and it also gives you the high ground to assess the front and the status of Zone C, giving updates and feedback to your teammate throughout the match. So as you can see, Team Samurai still have about 150 point buffer, but that can easily change when 1 or 2 capture zones come into play.
And there we see it happen right now. The capture zone switches, and now Team Knight has a slight point advantage, holding down 2 points.
Yeah, so we have 2 capture zones fully controlled with point C in flux. So communication on both sides should be to support friendlies at C, but there it goes back to the attacker.
There we see Fairlight Excalibur, man versus game, ammunition, and Cobalt Streak on Team Samurai, currently trailing. And we've got a hot pursuit in action.
Yeah, that happens often, and that's a key to melee-based combat. It's all about range, reading spaces in the environment, and taking advantage of your character, not just their weapons, but their movement abilities. Dodging, evading, blocking, and attacking.
Nice kill there by Team Samurai and munition.
So here is a spectator cam. This player can move around the map and give feedback to their team while they're waiting to respawn.
Ooh, Gassy Mexican with a nice throw there.
If Gassy Mexican was smart, he'd get closer to the fire and try to use the environment to his advantage. Fire, spikes, drops, anything in the game world that looks dangerous, for the most part it is. So another thing that I wanted to point out, you'll see in the bottom left hand of the screen right now with this raider in particular, we've got a skull with soldiers in front of it. This is a feat, and you gain feats by increasing your renown, by doing certain play styles and certain elements during a match. So right now this raider gets double the reward for killing soldiers. That puts the emphasis on going to the front and taking advantage of the feat and the character loadout.
We saw one of those feats in the Dominion breakdown video we watched earlier, and now a lopsided fight does not go Team Samurai's way, and a brutal decapitation by Team Knight.
So we had almost all 4 of the defenders in the lane, in the front, clearing it out, and now they've got pretty much all 3 points. So they're 170 points away from putting the attackers in a break. So as you can see with the Raiders' unbridled rage, he's got no concern about defense. He's on the all-out offense, swinging that axe and taking fools down.
And the blue team very close to pushing over that 1,000 point barrier and pushing the orange team into breaking.
So here we can see that the attackers have left A uncontested, meaning it's an easy capture for the defenders, and then they can move. Oh, spoke a little too soon. So here we see a 2-on-1 fight. This is where space and environment gets key. A lot of our community feedback was, hey, it's really hard for us to work in an outnumbered environment, and as you can see there, it is easy to be killed, but we've been working really hard to implement features to support outnumbered fights. We'll talk about those in the preceding matches.
There are some ways to tip the scales, but then there are also sometimes you end up with a sword in your shoulder blade.
So here we have Zone A being boosted. Not only do they have 100 points from it, they tick over an extra 2 points a second to stay with their team and help them meet the 1,000 point threshold to push the enemies into breaking.
That was Tangent Gaming holding down that elevated point over there. Now we'll switch back over and see a nice kill there by Team Knight and Co-Carnage.
So here you'll see the feedback on screen. That cross meant if there wasn't a threat to the attacker, they could stop and revive a friendly, bring them right back into battle, and skip the respawn time.
Could have used another buddy right about then, but he's making his escape.
They're never there when you need them, eh? So you can see here, everything revolves around the art of battle. That is the stance in which your hero is in. It depicts where you block and where you attack. But here we have our first round of breaking.
And Team Samurai pushing back to capture that point.
The attackers need to be smart here. If they lose capture zone C, all of the attackers will respawn. However, none of them are dead, so it's not a risk at this time.
We just caught a glimpse there of this big battering ram that's on the field starting to swing. Really just adding to the whole ambiance of this battle.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. It's based around a siege, and a siege isn't just killing the enemy forces or opposing forces. It's about breaching their sanctuary, their place of safety.
Got a fierce 2-on-2 here.
Yeah, so this is where collaboration is key. You go 2-on-1 and get attacked from behind. So here we have double breaking. Both teams are above the 1,000 point threshold. And now we can see it's a 4-on-2. If the defenders can hold all their zones and finish out the last 2 attackers, this match will be theirs to win. So now it's an all-out manhunt.
Well, is that the last remaining member of Team Samurai running around there?
Oh, he's gonna go.
Going for the revive!
So this is where communication is key. All 4 of them chasing the target isn't a good idea. You got to think about the setup and the space and find a way to cut them off and really get them in the corner. There you go. Here comes some strategy. Obviously, we're going for the revive here. You can see some panic faces behind us, some shouting.
Looks like that's Lil Renee frantically trying to stay alive. She's got the entirety of the enemy team after her.
And there you have it.
All right, nice round of applause there for the victors, Team Knight, or was it Team Samurai?
It was the Defenders.
It was the Defenders.
Team Samurai.
All right, raise your hands, team. Well, you guys won, didn't you? Yeah, you did. All right, I'm going to talk to you in a second. Folks, quick reminder, if you want to get in on this action, you still have a chance to sign up for the closed alpha for For Honor. Go to forhonorgame.com. The closed alpha starts in just under 2 weeks. Now I'm going to come over here. Fairlight Excalibur, will you stand up here and come over here and chat with me real quick? Was a bit of a chase down at the end there as your team forced the other guys into breaking.
We were trying to offer the last person standing a 1v1, but he kept trying to res people, so we had to keep smacking him until he stopped.
And the last person standing, I believe, Laura Nene. Nicely done. Let me check in with her real quick here. An honorable move, though, offering the last player a one-on-one. Have you found that to be sort of common in your alpha experiences?
In the first alpha, it was very common that when the team that was losing was down to one person, instead of ganging up on them, the other 3 of your teammates would stand by and watch, and one person duels them. It basically gives them a last chance to stand up for their team. Inevitably, they usually die anyway, but it at least gives them a last stand, and I think that's really cool, and it fits the honor theme.
Absolutely. You try to help them die with some dignity.
Wouldn't go that far.
Laura Nene, you were frantically running around there. What was your hope that you were clinging to maybe just stay alive?
To stay alive.
Yeah, pretty much just, please don't put an axe in my face.
Yeah, I was just sprinting and hoping that maybe if I ran long enough, they would get tired and then just leave me alone and then I would win. That was like my dream that didn't come true.
Sure, they just get tuckered out. They say, oh, she's just running laps. Let's just park it here and, I don't know, forget about her. Didn't work out that way.
My last resort was just throw myself off the edge, but I didn't know how to.
Talk about dying with dignity. All right, we'll get set up here for our second match. Team Knights versus Team Samurai.
So that was interesting. One or two of the things that came up during those post-match interviews, one of which was at the end of a match, oftentimes, and I've participated in a lot of our live events, we really do see that the community goes for the honor aspect of it. It'll be a 4-on-1, there'll be one left. Someone from the winning team will step forward and they'll really let them go one-on-one, hero to hero, to see if it can make a difference. And I've seen it personally on our floor. One remaining teammate was able to go through our team twice before he actually took him down. So one hero really can make a difference. So even though the points are out of play and you're somewhat destined, you can still fight for your pride and your honor as a hero.
I like that a lot. You just sort of, all right, you're gonna fight, you're gonna die that honorable death of fighting as opposed to maybe throwing yourself off the ledge, although that would be quicker and more dramatic.
Hey, maybe that's something that's unique to the samurai. You never know, eh? Another point that was mentioned was the fact that it was kind of a rat race at the end of it. That's another point. Even though there's 4-on-1, communication was still key. So here we go for match 2. So here we have the Warden going right into the front. This is almost some bread and butter for this character. He can take out a lot of soldiers and really push his team to win the front off the bat. Oh, what a dodge. Well played, but you didn't get far enough. So here you can see the soldiers do play in the battle and they make a big difference in the fights. You can use them as a navigation tool or deterrent against the enemies. Here we have a 2-on-2 in zone C. This is the zone closest to the attacker's spawn. So if the defenders take this, they're really going on the offensive and saying, we're going to win this battle.
All right, just a quick clarification for those of you folks watching at home. We've actually got Team Samurai, the victors of the first match, in orange this time around. They're the attackers. Sorry, they're in blue this time around. It says orange on the screen. They're actually blue. And Team Knight are the defenders in orange. And defenders in blue.
See, so there we had Raider trying
Jeff
to
just
run.
confused everything even more.
Oh.
Let me just iron it out, Jeff. Team Samurai is blue. Team Knight is orange.
We'll go with that. Team Knight is the blue, and Team Samurai are the orange.
Peeked at their screens, and these guys are playing on the blue side.
Either way, we'll go with attacker defender. So here we have it. The defenders are currently winning the battle.
And they've got those 2 points. And now we watch a Raider trying to make a move on one of those points.
So while we watch these guys get used to the art of battle and the intricacies of each hero, those of you out at home watching with a keen eye will notice this is no longer a samurai map. Here we are in one of the Knight maps. You'll notice a difference right away. The infrastructure, the size, the epic structures that they build, and the setup of the map is completely different.
And we're going to see Team Blue going for those revives, having another player right back on the field with you. As anyone who's played a multiplayer competitive game with reviving knows, so powerful.
Yeah, man, the ability to skip respawn really helps you make a difference. But on the flip side of that, we wanted a way for you to ensure that that couldn't happen and that a hero that you fell has to sit through the respawn. That's where execution becomes important. Because both on revive and on the execution, you're initiating an animation that leaves you open to attack. So you really have to consider whether you want to follow through. Executing an enemy not only means they have to respawn, they take on a penalty, and it gives you a health buff or a health regen. So there's a benefit and a cost to everything.
The crowd really seems to like that knock him to the ground, knee him in the face move.
Yeah, the stun definitely has, its benefits, but when you're in a group fight, do you really want to initiate that, or do you want to use the space and wait for support? So here we have a female Raider doing her part in the lane, clearing through the soldiers, really working to push each front on behalf of the defender. So that's key. All three of these heroes that we're seeing today are Vanguard, as I said, kind of like the all-rounders. And all three heroes in all three factions are available in the male and female loadout variety. So you can really choose a hero and customize it to who you want to be in the battlefield.
And even here we see two male Raiders facing off, but they've got a different look to them. There is deep customization in terms of what your character's armor looks like, what sort of coloration and patterns you've got on there, the works.
Yeah, we work really hard. Our art director does a lot of work in ensuring that there's visual variety. As you can see, there's a decapitation. But the thing with the visual loadouts is that really you can make yourself prominent. So when the opposing team sees you coming, they know what they're in for. They can run and hide, group up, or really try to step up and take you one-on-one. So there is an example of the Kensai level 3 feat, the smoke bomb. That is a tool that allows you to evade outnumber fights or really just blur the battlefield for the opponent. See, so the Kensei right now is going into a part of the map that is narrow, that'll limit his opponents to attacking front on, keeping it one-on-one, even though he's outnumbered in a 3-on-1 fight.
Saw a little collision there on the ladder. The ladders are not, they are part of the battleground. You know, just because you're on a ladder doesn't mean someone's not coming to get you.
No, that is true. Ladders often provide alternate routes to high ground, but one of the keys to being around high ground and ledges are not only can you be thrown off the ledges, but enemies can attack from above, giving them a single hit kill, or as we like to call it, death from above. So you always have to be aware of your surroundings, both immediately, but also vertically.
Here we see the blue team, Team Samurai, pushing that center point, claiming the front.
And as you mentioned before in the last map, this is similar in Dominion mode. You're trying to breach or save your sanctuary, so we have the battering ram in the middle of the front. So here we can see that the attacker's own capture zone sees, so while they sit in the zone, they get a health regen. It really pushes the idea of strategy and communication. We didn't want a roving horde of 4 heroes being able to win a match, so we strongly listened to the community feedback and came up with tweaks that would promote communication and collaboration on the battlefield, leveraging the spaces and the areas.
Looks like this raid